Into the shadows. The next evolution of warfare. What does it take to operate in the most dangerous places on Earth, where decisions are made in seconds and failure isn't an option? Special Forces units are the tip of the spear, silent, precise, and lethal. From hostage rescues to high-risk reconnaissance missions deep behind enemy lines, these elite operators rely not only on rigorous training and raw courage, but also on the best technology the world has to offer. And that technology is evolving, fast. We are standing at the dawn of a new military era, one where artificial intelligence, autonomous drones, and biomechanical enhancements are transforming the very definition of a soldier. No longer bound by human limitations, the modern Special Forces operator may soon be augmented with exoskeletons for strength, embedded systems for live data analysis, and enhanced decision-making powered by machine learning. This is not science fiction. These innovations are already being prototyped, tested, and, sometimes quietly, deployed. Micro-drones the size of insects scout urban terrain. AI algorithms detect threats in real time. Laser weapons can disable targets silently. Genetic engineering, once taboo, is now part of the conversation. But with these technologies come questions. Who controls them? How do we ensure they're used ethically? What happens when machines make life or death decisions? And how do we draw the line between super soldier and weapon? This documentary is your invitation into that world, into the labs, the strategies, and the secrets that shape the future of special forces. We'll uncover the breakthroughs that are giving elite units a decisive edge on tomorrow's battlefield. You'll see how cutting-edge tools are enhancing human ability, transforming missions, and reshaping military doctrine. And above all, you'll discover why this transformation matters, not just to those in uniform, but to all of us. Because the technology developed for special forces never stays in the shadows for long. It trickles down, spreads out, and eventually finds its way into the world we all share. Welcome to the future of Special Forces technology. A world transformed. The rise of AI and autonomous warfare. In the shadowy realm of Special Forces, precision, speed, and intelligence are everything. But as technology races ahead, a new force is entering the battlefield: artificial intelligence. No longer confined to labs and software simulations, AI has become a silent partner in elite operations, processing massive amounts of data in real time to assist in decision-making, mission planning, and even combat execution. AI-driven systems are now capable of analyzing drone surveillance feeds, identifying threats faster than any human operator, and suggesting optimal tactical movements in seconds. What once took a team of analysts can now be done by algorithms that never sleep. These systems don't just react, they anticipate. By learning patterns of enemy movement and behavior, they help special forces avoid ambushes, minimize risks, and strike with surgical precision. At the forefront of this evolution are autonomous drones, unmanned aerial vehicles equipped with powerful sensors, thermal imaging, and even weapon systems. Some are no larger than a bird and designed for stealth infiltration. Others hover for hours over hostile territory, providing persistent eyes in the sky, or delivering payloads with uncanny precision. Swarm technology takes this even further. Dozens or hundreds of small drones acting in coordination, overwhelming defenses, and adapting in real time. But these advancements bring with them serious ethical questions. What happens when a drone makes the wrong decision? Who is responsible if an AI misidentifies a target? The more autonomy we give machines, the more we risk unintended consequences. Military ethicists warn of a future where lethal decisions could be made without human oversight, a path that may reduce hesitation but also compassion, judgment, and accountability. In this transformed world, the future of special forces is being shaped not just by the soldier, but by the code that guides them. It's a future where man and machine work in tandem, yet one where the balance of control must be carefully guarded. Because when machines can kill, the line between protection and destruction becomes dangerously thin. Augmenting the human. The future of Special Forces enhancement. For decades, the battlefield has been a contest of skill, endurance, and willpower. But what happens when soldiers no longer fight with just their bodies and minds, when they become enhanced by machines? In elite units, where physical and mental limits are constantly pushed, the integration of human augmentation technologies is no longer hypothetical. It's already underway. Exoskeletons, once confined to concept art and speculative fiction, are now in field tests. These mechanical suits wrap around the operator's body, amplifying strength, increasing endurance, and reducing fatigue. A soldier carrying 50 kilograms of gear can move faster, longer, and with less risk of injury, potentially turning a single operator into the equivalent of 3. Imagine storming a compound or climbing a mountain pass with the strength of a machine, but with a human brain calling the shots. Beyond external gear, the most radical advancements lie under the skin. Biomonitoring implants can track vitals in real time: hydration, blood oxygen, stress levels. Neuroenhancements are in development to improve cognitive response, memory recall, even decision-making under pressure. Combined with AR, augmented reality visors that provide live tactical data, today's operator is closer than ever to a real-life super soldier. But perhaps the most controversial frontier is genetic modification. Quietly and often in civilian labs, scientists are exploring ways to enhance vision in low light, increase resistance to fatigue, and even manipulate pain thresholds. Modifications that could drastically change what it means to be human on the battlefield. The implications are profound. Where do we draw the line between a trained soldier and a manufactured warrior? If enhancements become standard, what happens to the value of natural skill, intuition, and grit? And who gets access to this technology? Only top-tier nations or private militaries, too. There's also the risk of dependency. When the suit breaks down, does the soldier break down too? If decisions are outsourced to neural aids, what happens to moral responsibility? We are entering an era where flesh and machine begin to merge. For special forces, it promises unmatched performance, but also unprecedented ethical complexity. Because every augmentation brings with it a deeper question. In improving the warrior, are we changing the very nature of war itself? Weapons of the future. Advanced technology and its impact. In the ever-evolving theater of war, it's not just the soldiers who are changing, it's the tools they wield. Special forces, operating in the most volatile environments, are now gaining access to weapons that once belonged solely to the realm of science fiction. These tools promise to shift the balance of power in profound and irreversible ways. At the forefront are directed energy weapons, more commonly known as laser weapons. Compact, silent, and deadly precise, they offer a glimpse into the next phase of combat. These systems can disable enemy electronics, neutralize drones mid-flight, or target vehicles without the thunderous chaos of conventional explosives. For special forces missions requiring discretion and minimal collateral damage, lasers offer a clean, efficient solution. But lasers are just the beginning. enter the hypersonic era. Hypersonic missiles, traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 5, are redefining modern warfare. Unlike traditional ballistic missiles, these projectiles can maneuver in flight, making them nearly impossible to intercept with current defense systems. For special forces, this means potential access to support weaponry that can strike with pinpoint accuracy in a matter of seconds from vast distances. The margin for error becomes razor-thin for both the attacker and the target. Another critical innovation lies in smart munitions. Bullets, grenades, and explosives embedded with microchips and sensors. These can alter trajectory mid-flight, delay detonation until reaching optimal position, or avoid unintended targets. Combined with AI-assisted targeting systems, special forces can engage enemies with unparalleled precision, even in complex environments like urban combat zones or dense jungles. These technologies are not just tools, they're force multipliers, amplifying the impact of a small, elite unit beyond traditional limits. A single operator, with the right tech, can now carry out missions that once required an entire platoon. But these advancements also bring strategic and ethical consequences. As weapons become faster, smarter, and more autonomous, the risk of miscalculation rises. Escalation becomes easier, attribution becomes harder, and the line between offensive and defensive technology continues to blur. There's also a geopolitical dimension. Nations entering a new arms race, not just for nuclear supremacy, but for technological dominance. Special forces, often the first to deploy such tech, become both beneficiaries and test subjects in this silent race for military innovation. Ultimately, the battlefield of the future will be defined not just by who has the strongest will, but by who wields the most sophisticated tools. And the consequences of that reality will ripple far beyond the war zones. Beyond the battlefield, the impact on society. Special forces technology is developed in the shadows, conceived for speed, stealth, and supremacy in high-stakes missions. But like every military innovation before it, these tools don't stay on the battlefield. Eventually, they bleed into civilian life, subtly reshaping the world we live in. Take drone technology. Once exclusive to defense departments, UAVs are now delivering packages, monitoring agriculture, and assisting in disaster response. Surveillance algorithms trained to identify threats in war zones are now used in law enforcement, border control, and even retail security. Augmented reality, developed to overlay battlefield data for special ops, is now enhancing surgeries, engineering, and education. The line between military and civilian innovation is dissolving fast, and that's not always a good thing. Many of the tools developed for elite military use raise ethical questions when repurposed for everyday environments. Facial recognition software, for instance, offers powerful utility but threatens privacy and civil liberties when misused. Predictive AI, originally designed to anticipate enemy behavior, is being tested in policing, raising concerns about bias, accountability, and surveillance overreach. There's also the question of control. As defense contractors work increasingly with private tech firms, who owns the technology? What's stopping a company from selling battlefield-grade tools to the highest bidder? We're entering an era where non-state actors, private security forces, corporate interests, even criminal networks, may gain access to technologies that once required state sanction. The potential for misuse is enormous. An exoskeleton designed to help a wounded soldier carry gear could be modified for riot control. A swarm drone system developed for recon could be reprogrammed for mass disruption. Without strict ethical frameworks, today's defensive tools can become tomorrow's instruments of oppression. And yet, these same tools offer tremendous promise. Medical technologies spun off from Special Forces research have the potential to save lives. Wearable biosensors for early stroke detection, robotic limbs refined from exoskeletons, or trauma treatment techniques born from battlefield necessity. The challenge lies in managing the transition responsibly. That requires transparency, a concept rarely associated with military innovation. It also demands public discourse. As citizens, we must ask hard questions. Who decides how these tools are used? Where is the oversight? What are the long-term social costs of embedding war-borne tech into civilian life? Because if we don't shape the direction of innovation, it will shape us. In the end, Special Forces technology may protect nations, but its shadow stretches far beyond. It touches law, culture, economy, and ethics, and its impact will be felt not only by the few who serve, but by the many who live under its influence. The future of Special Forces. A look ahead. As technology evolves at breakneck speed, one question looms. What will tomorrow's Special Forces look like? The answer lies at the intersection of cutting-edge innovation and timeless human instincts. We imagine a battlefield where operators are no longer just soldiers. They're integrated systems. Outfitted with adaptive exosuits, enhanced cognitive implants, and real-time AI analytics, the elite warrior of the future will process more data, move with greater power, and strike with near-perfect accuracy. Missions that once took weeks may be executed in hours. High-risk infiltrations may become surgical, with zero casualties. Even logistics, resupply, extraction, medical support could be automated or drone-assisted. Yet, despite this technological surge, human adaptability remains irreplaceable. No algorithm can fully replicate the moral judgment of an experienced operator deciding whether or not to pull the trigger. No neural network can improvise with the same instinct, intuition, or emotional intelligence that humans bring to chaotic, high-pressure environments. That's why many experts argue the future of Special Forces isn't about replacing the human. It's about enhancing and empowering them, while preserving the core of what makes them effective. Discipline, creativity, and the ability to make the right call when no machine can. But to achieve this future responsibly, global cooperation is essential. The race to develop AI, autonomous weapons, and bio-augmented systems is heating up, not just among nations, but also among corporations, contractors, and even private entities. Without clear international norms and ethical frameworks, the risk of misuse grows. Think about autonomous drone assassinations with no accountability. Think about private militaries equipped with black market tech. Think about the psychological toll of turning humans into tools of hyper-efficient warfare. We must ask ourselves, what kind of future are we building? Is the goal to win wars faster, or to reduce the need for war altogether? Will this tech serve humanity, or hollow it out in the name of dominance? Transparency, accountability, and ethics cannot be afterthoughts. They must be designed into the systems from the beginning. Military leaders, tech developers, lawmakers, and citizens all have a role to play. Because the decisions we make today will shape the battles of tomorrow. Not just how they're fought, but why. And while Special Forces will always be at the cutting edge, pushing into the unknown, their greatest strength may not come from the machines they carry, but from the values they choose to uphold in a world where power is no longer limited by flesh. Shadows of tomorrow. In the quiet, calculated world of Special Forces, victory has always depended on an edge, an advantage measured not just in firepower or tactics, but in innovation. Today, that edge is evolving. From AI-guided missions and drone swarms to exoskeletons and genetically enhanced endurance, we are witnessing the birth of a new era, one where technology does more than assist, it transforms, where the boundaries between man and machine blur, where the battlefield becomes faster, smarter, more connected, and more unpredictable. But in this rush toward the future, one truth remains. It's not just the tools that shape warfare. It's the people who wield them and the choices they make. Will we use these advancements to protect life or dominate it? Will we pursue precision with wisdom or power without restraint? The answers to those questions won't come from machines. They'll come from us. Because in the end, the future of special forces is not just about technology. It's about responsibility. And in a world where war may one day be waged in silence by autonomous shadows, the most powerful weapon will still be a human mind guided by a moral compass.